news at 4 on Leadership Television. My name is Winifred Ogbebo. Leading opposition figures, including former Vice President Atiku Abubakar and the 2023 presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Peter Obi, are meeting in Abuja to present their position on the Electoral Act. The high-level gathering is taking place at the Transcorp Hilton, where the opposition leaders are expected to address journalists on contentious provisions of the law and other pressing national issues. Among those in attendance are former Senate President David Mark, a chieftain of the New Nigerian People's Party, Buba Galadima, former Rivers State Governor Rotimi Amechi, and the National Secretary of the African Democratic Congress, Ralph Aregbesola. Other stakeholders present include the ADC National Publicity Secretary, Bolaji Abdullahi, Senator Dino Melaye, former ADC National Chairman, Ralph Owonsu, and former Cross River State Governor, Lie Imoke. The meeting comes amid growing debate over the 2026 Electoral Act recently passed by the National Assembly and assented to by President Bola Tinubu on February 18. Under the Electoral Act 2022, political parties could nominate candidates through direct primaries, indirect primaries conducted by delegates or by consensus. However, the 2026 amendment restricts parties to only direct primaries and consensus options. The new law also shortens campaign periods and timelines for party primaries. In addition, funding for the Independent National Electoral Commission will now be released 6 months before an election instead of the previous 12 months. Further details are expected following the opposition's address. In other development, the All Progressives Congress has dismissed allegations by the African Democratic Congress that it orchestrated a recent attack on Peter Obi and other party chieftains in Edo State. Reacting to the claims, the APC described the ADC as the architect of his own misfortune, insisting it required no external assistance to bring about his political downfall. In a statement issued by its National Publicity Secretary, Phyllis Omoka, the ruling party said the ADC was doing a fine job crippling itself even before it has the chance to stand firmly. Moka described the ADC's claim that the APC was behind the reported shooting incident at the Secretariat in Benin City as utterly delusional and accused the party of rushing to judgment before the conclusion of any investigation. He said accusing the APC without evidence was senseless and amounted to acting as accuser, investigator, prosecutor, and judge in his own case. While condemning violence in the political space, the APC called on security agencies to conduct swift and thorough investigation to ensure that those responsible are brought to justice. Moka maintained that the APC had absolutely no involvement in the incident and accused the ADC of attempting to smear the ruling party over what he described as an internal crisis. He added that the APC remained focused on consolidating what he termed recent electoral successes in the Federal Capital Territory, Rivers, and Kano states. Now, foreign news. Britain's ruling Labour Party is facing a crucial parliamentary by-election in the Manchester constituency of Gorton and Dente in what analysts describe as a key test of Prime Minister Keir Starmer's leadership. The vote is being closely watched as a measure of shifting voter sentiment, with insurgent parties on both the right and left seeking to capitalize on public dissatisfaction. Labour had secured nearly 51% of the vote in the constituency during the July 2024 general election, which returned the party to power after 14 years of conservative rule. However, the contest has now evolved into a tight three-way race involving the Anti-Immigration Reform UK, led by Nigel Farage, and the Green Party of England and Wales. Rising frustration over the cost of living crisis and irregular migration is believed to be driving some voters towards smaller parties. Prime Minister Starmer has described the by-election as a battle of values, criticizing Reform UK and the Greens over their policy positions. The outcome could signal whether Britain's traditional two-party dominance is weakening ahead of the next general election expected in 2029. And now sports. Italian giants Juventus are reportedly preparing a major summer move for Nigerian striker Victor Osimhen. According to reports in the Italian media, the club is ready to spend up to €120 million in a bid to strengthen its squad after an underwhelming campaign. Osimhen, who previously starred in Serie A and won the Scudetto with Napoli, has in the past expressed admiration for Juventus, describing the club as one of the most important in football history. However, his current club Galatasaray are expected to demand around €150 million for the prolific forward. Juventus are believed to be planning an aggressive transfer window as they seek to reassert dominance in Italian football. With that, we'll come to the news at 4 on Leadership Television. For more, log in to www.leadership.ng and don't forget to follow us on all our social media handles. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for watching. For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have the last word.